Well, I have here the Jetson Orin Nano. It's been out of stock everywhere, but I just found one and I've been looking for it for a long time. And I'm going to give you a quick overview and my first thoughts on this device. And in the future videos, I'm going to actually set it up and see what all it can do. Everything that comes in the box is this and a power cord. The power cord, it's like a typical, like a Windows laptop kind of cord, but it has that little power thingy in the middle. It's kind of inconvenient to have that because any new charger, you just put the brick in the wall. Definitely a little inconvenient. But let's talk about the device itself. When you take it out of the box, it's literally this. You see it here. That's the compute module. So this is essentially if you've ever had a RAM stick, it's essentially a RAM stick on this board that's the size of a Raspberry Pi. And on the bottom, all of this that you see, there's a plastic base. On top of that, you have the board. And on top of the board, you have this compute module. And on top of the compute module, you have the fan. So that is essentially a stacked up like Raspberry Pi board, but with a compute module. That's essentially what it is. This compute module has CPU, but very low clocked in frequency for it. But the whole purpose of this machine right here is to run more graphics intensive programs like running your machine learning models, your vision models, all of those kind of things. One of the big difference that I see in this is because it needs a little more power, it has the power connector right here. And this is from like how all the computers, like a HP or a Dell laptop that you'll have. And I mean, it works, but what I'm used to is I have a lot of Raspberry Pis. And with Raspberry Pis, you connected the Raspberry Pi 5, you just connected with a USB-C and it powers it. So having a new connector here is kind of inconvenient. But if you look right next to it, is a display port. Another little inconvenience, like I have monitors that have a display port in it, but I don't have display cables because I don't understand why people use those outside of a HDMI. Maybe I don't know something that people know about. I haven't looked into it, but it has a display port. Okay, first inconvenience. Like two of these all inconvenient for sure. I would have liked to have a USB-C here for power. I'm sure it can power like 100 watts. This does not go over 100 watts. So that's what I'm assuming. Display port would rather have had an HDMI. Then for USB 3.1, I believe. USB 3.1, totally fine. Have no issues. Ethernet port, I think it goes up to 2.5. Not sure. I'll have to look into it. And then a USB-C. I think this is more for data connection and transferring stuff to it. Outside of that, when like you see the video of Jetson in his kitchen, just takes it out of the tray and shows this. One thing I really love about these new Nvidia Jetson thing especially is like the whole board. Like typically these kind of boards are more green, and those are just very classic and just have been green for a very long time. I don't know the reason why. If you know, just let me know in the comments. But just the black color, that's like more iPhone. Like that's where I first saw it. iPhone doing the more black colored like PCBs, the board itself where all the chips are on. It kind of makes it look more sleek and it just kind of looks much more premium. I think that's what they're going for. I don't think so there's like a performance improvement because of the board color, but I think that's what they're going for. And then also their fan that they put is like much more boxy. It's all black, stacks right on top, has those airflow right here. So I think that's what they're going for and just makes it look much better. A second thing, I haven't tested this out yet, but if you look at the bottom, what it came with was this, not this. So this is just a Wi-Fi card. So for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity, they have the network card right here. What I did, so you can expand the storage to two methods. Number one is the M.2, the longer stick. I don't know the exact names for all of these. And then the other one is the smaller one, the smaller version of this. It's essentially you can increase the storage using both of these, but one uses the full length stick, the M.2 SSD stick, and the other one is like the half size one. It's essentially the size of this, but for storage right here. What I haven't done yet is to boot it up, I think you need an SD card. And right here on the compute module, you'll see somewhere here, you gotta put the SD card. Like how on a Raspberry Pi you have to put the SD card to like boot it up. Think I need to use an SD card to boot it up. But then I put the Samsung Evo 1 terabyte. So essentially my goal is, instead of having to use an SD card for a lot of these, because I don't want to do a lot of read and writes on an SD card, because SD cards don't have that long of a life if you're doing too much read and write off of them. But these sticks have a much longer length, and because I'm going to be using them for a lot of like machine learning models that I'm going to build, I don't want to do that on the SD card. So I think what I need to do is boot it up using SD card, then go somehow flash the OS on this stick right here, and then boot it up from here, and all of the storage and everything is just going to live right here. But right now, developing on CUDA, understanding the Nvidia architecture, I think this board is going to work just absolutely fine for that. Stay tuned. I'm going to make more videos around how I set it up, some of my learnings, some things that you should know about. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.